There'll be many people thinking donuts are essential for survival in these difficult times. Let's talk about this to Andrew Busby, the founder of Retail Reflections. Hello, Andrew. Good morning.
Good morning, Vanessa.
Well, we've got really two parts to this conversation, haven't we? One is when you go out to the shops on your one essential trip of the week, or however infrequently you can possibly manage to go, if they're selling, portable barbecues, or if they're selling bunches of daffodils, or if they're selling makeup or whatever it is there any reason not to buy them? If you're in the shop anyway, should you not be able to buy whatever you like? That's the first question. When you're out there doing your essential shopping, how essential should your essential shopping be?
Well, exactly, yeah. And one person's essential is another person's nice to have. So, yeah, I don't...
Well, hang on. I mean, some people will say that's nonsense. No, that's not right. Essentials are food or medicines. That's all essentials are. And,
yeah, exactly.
When you say one person's essential is another person's nice to have, that isn't true, is it? Everyone's nice to have is a nice to have, isn't it?
I'll give you an example, though.
Yeah.
Obviously, food is an obvious one. We need food and we need our medicine. Fine. Let's suppose that, hopefully we all have, as an example, smoke detectors in our houses. What happens if it breaks, it's failed? That suddenly becomes an essential item for that particular person. So my point being that what you have to do is take it on an individual basis. You also mentioned there some of the examples of barbecue and so forth, but if you look on the government's own website, they say that online retail is still open and encouraged. So what they've done unwittingly, perhaps, is the government has created all this confusion because they say, on the one hand, you must only go out as infrequently as possible, and also that can only be for necessities. But then, of course, what they do is then say all retail is closed apart from, and as Greg was just saying there's a whole list of retailers that can remain open. And I think the crux of the confusion and the debate is then within those retail stores that are still allowed to be open, what products can they sell and what products can't they sell? And of course, the latter part of that has not been defined. Nobody has sold, in the example of boots, that I imagine would have been a local, perhaps a central, may have been a local decision by that store. But nowhere has the government said, produced a list, at least I haven't seen it, of all the products that either can be sold or those that can't be.
Right, so let's move out of then our essential foray to the shops, our essential sortie, which we're told don't just meander out every day, don't just wander about the shops because you like it. I talked to somebody the other day who said, I always go to the supermarket and I go every morning. I said, but you're told hardly to go at all. Why are you doing that? Oh, well, I like to see what I'm getting and I like to see what they've got. And I said, but you're putting yourself at risk, you're putting other people at risk. It's not about whether you quite fancy giving a grapefruit a squeeze anymore. It's not that. Or having a look to see what different pizzas are available. Don't go. You're not meant to do it. So don't do it, for goodness sake. But people don't necessarily get that message. But let's talk about the other thing. You're in your house. You're locked down. You're doing exactly what you're told to do, which is staying inside. However, you quite fancy a game of Cluedo to be delivered. You really rather fancy, for the weekend that's coming, a comfortable garden chair to sit in, because you're lucky you do have a bit of outdoor space. You fancy one of those. In fact, you're a gardener. You haven't got any compost. You fancy having a bag of compost delivered. You're looking at your roots of your natural blonde hair, which surprisingly suddenly doesn't seem to be all that natural. You think you better get some colouring for your hair delivered. Now, delivering, obviously you're not going outside. You're not putting anyone at risk. You are keeping the companies in business whose products you want. You are keeping the delivery guy in work because he's delivering. But we've got a delivery guy saying to us, he's got a van completely full of barbecues. He doesn't know whether to feel right or wrong about this type of a thing. What do you think about it?
Yeah, so I think for me, we're told that we should go out and we should exercise not just for our physical but for our mental well-being. And for me, that's the key to this: our mental well-being. Because we've all been incarcerated. It's a very, very strange feeling, and there'll be a lot of people who are feeling very anxious. And worried and concerned, and it could be about their job or just the fact that they happen to be stuck inside. And as you rightly say, there are those of us who are lucky enough to have a garden, but if not, if you're in a flat with no means to get out and so forth, then yes, I think what we have to do is try to strike a balance. But of course, when you use phrases like that and you say, well, we should use our common sense, it suddenly becomes subjective and open to interpretation. But I think that we do need to try to get that, and that provided that people are following the social distancing guidelines when they're out, which I think most of us are now. I mean, we're all used to the 2-meter rule now. Yeah. It was very strange, a week or so ago, but now you go to the supermarket, you go to the shop, and you follow that. But to your point about staying indoors and ordering whatever you like online, as I said, online is encouraged, but also, I think that, take the garden and plants and so forth. For a lot of people, particularly probably some in the vulnerable and the elderly age groups, then that is their way of relaxation and probably staying as sane as they possibly can.
So what if you want to order a cocktail shaker? What if you want to order a silk negligee set? What if you want to order... No, but seriously, you want to order, I don't know, an evening cape with a marabou trim. I mean, what if you want to order something, a velvet smoking jacket? I don't know, a candelabra, a chandelier. I mean, you fancy it. I mean, absolutely anyone can say absolutely anything is essential for their mental equilibrium or for the good of their relationship. They can say, if I don't hurry up and order that silk negligee, our whole kind of love life is going to be in absolute disarray. I need a chaise longue so I can have the hurly-burly of the chaise longue. Without it, I can't.
Vision in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. I need an extra reinforcing thing so I can swing from the flipping chandeliers. Otherwise, what are we meant to do? We're going crazy at home here if we can't do all of that. I'm only being funny about it, but you know what I mean. People's fantastical imaginations, thank heaven, know no bounds. And when you're sitting there, you might order any old thing. And in a way, I mean, could you say that's great because you're keeping businesses buoyant, you're doing something for the economy? If we all buy nothing, we're all in the deepest stuch when we come out and suddenly want it, and the business has gone under during lockdown. So in a way, is it public spirited to keep buying stuff? Or in a way, is it the worst thing we can do because it means people have got to deliver it and everybody's, risking themselves every time they do such a thing?
Well, as you say, people will they'll interpret it in different ways and they can take it to extremes. But it's a very good point about the economy and about businesses. And that, yes, we do need to still be. I mean, we were before this, we were massively consuming, and of course, what the pandemic has done is it's brought a drawbridge down on that almost. And so now we're stuck indoors. We can only go out once a day or whatever, bare minimum. So, what's wrong with ordering some of these things? If that's what our interest happens to be, provided that we are not putting the warehouse workers or we have to trust the companies that they are not putting their workers in any sort of danger. And that they are in their warehouses and their drivers are practicing social distancing. We have to trust that they are being responsible in doing that. And if that's the case, a bit like when we go out physically to the store, provided that we are doing so responsibly and following the guidelines, I don't see what's wrong with that.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Nice talking to you, Andrew. Andrew Busby there, the founder of Retail Reflections.